This holiday season, we're so excited to share our warm wishes with all of our families and students that make this district what it is. We hope that this holiday is one that's filled with memories of family, fun, and festivities. We ask that each parent encourage their child to find one of their favorite holiday books and immerse themselves in a story that makes this time of year so magical. Please join us as some individuals that work very hard for the students of Gadsden County share some of their favorite stories. And most importantly, from our district family to your family, have a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. God bless you.
Today we're going to read a book entitled Santa's Bag, written by John Freeman. It was late in November, just 1 month to go. All round Santa's castle, deep lay the snow. Inside, Santa whirred as he pulled at his ears. He remembered a problem which occurred through the years. It seemed that the ride in the sleigh Christmas Eve left the toys and the presents a sight to believe. In the beginning, all ordered and sorted with care, but too soon all scattered over here and over there. There must be an answer, he said with a sigh, and then it came to him like a flash from the sky. I'll go ask the elves, I'll see what they say. I know they can do it, they must find a way. But the elves too were stymied, stopped dead in their tracks. No ideas came to them, no brainwave attacks. But as fortune would have it, there was one exception, the smallest of the elves with a freckled complexion. Please, sir, he cried, small voice coming through from the back of the room. It's me, sir, the youngest one. They call him Max. I think I can help, or I'm sure that I can. And off to the back of the workshop he ran. He was back in a moment with a skip and a hop, carrying a red bag with a good drawstring top. With bags just like this, both bigger and small, our problems are all over. It has solved them all. Safely tucked in the bags, the presents will fit. In the sleigh, they'll stay quiet. They won't move a bit. Oh, thanks, Max, said Santa. That's just what we need. It's so clever of you. I'm thoroughly pleased. And so that's the story. All toys safely packed, for Santa is happy, and all thanks to Max. I want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a happy and prosperous New Year. Have a great holiday season.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas!
The story I'm going to present today is How the Grinch Stole Christmas by Dr. Seuss. Every Who down in Whoville liked Christmas a lot, but the Grinch who just lived north of Whoville did not. The Grinch hated Christmas the whole Christmas season. Now please don't ask why. No one quite knows the reason. It could be his head wasn't screwed on just right. It could be perhaps that his shoes were too tight. But I think the most likely reason of all may have been that his heart was 2 sizes too small. But whatever the reason, his heart or his shoes, he stood there on Christmas Eve hating the Whos, staring down from his cave with a sour, grinchy frown at the warm-lighted windows below in their town. For he knew every Who down in Whoville beneath was busy now hanging a mistletoe wreath. and they're hanging their stockings, he snarled with a sneer. Tomorrow is Christmas, it's practically here. Then he growled with his Grinch fingers nervously drumming, I must find some way to stop Christmas from coming. For tomorrow, he knew, all the Who girls and boys would wake up bright and early. They'd rush for their toys. And then, oh, the noise, 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 noise. That's the one thing he hated, was the noise, 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 noise. Then the Who's young and old would sit down to a feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, and they'd feast, 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 feast. They would feast on Who pudding and rare Who roast beef, which was something the Grinch couldn't stand in the least. And then they'd do something he liked least of all. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, would stand close together with Christmas bells ringing. They'd stand hand in hand, and the Who's would start singing. And they'd sing and they'd sing, and they'd sing and they'd sing, 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 sing. And the more the Grinch thought of this Who Christmas sing, the more the Grinch thought, I must stop this whole thing. Why, for 53 years I've put up with it now. I must stop this Christmas from coming, but how? Then he got an idea, an awful idea. The Grinch got a wonderful, awful idea. I know just what to do. The Grinch laughed in his throat. He made a quick Santa Claus hat and a coat. And he chuckled and chuckled. What a great Grinchy trick. With this coat and this hat, I look just like Saint Nick. All I need is a reindeer. The Grinch looked around, but since reindeer are scarce, there was none to be found. Did that stop the old Grinch? No, the Grinch simply said, if I can't find a reindeer, I'll make one instead. So he called his dog Max, then he took some red thread, and he tied a big horn on the top of his head. Then he loaded some bags and some old empty sacks on a ramshackle sleigh, and he hitched up old Max. Then the Grinch said, get up, and the sleigh started down toward the homes where the Who's lay a snooze in their town. All their windows were dark, quiet snow filled with air. All the Who's who were dreaming, sweet dreamings without care. When he came to the first little house on the square, this is stop number 1, the old Grinchy Claus hissed. Then he climbed to the roof and empty bags in his fist. Then he slid down the chimney, a rare tight pinch. But if Santa could do it, so could the Grinch. He got stuck only once, for a moment or two. Then he stuck his head out of the fireplace flue, where the little Who stockings all hung in a row. These stockings, he grinned, they're the first things to go. Then he slithered and slunk, with a smile most unpleasant, around the whole room, and he took every present. Pop guns and bicycles, roller skates, drums, checkerboards, tricycles, popcorn, and plums. And he stuffed them in bags. Then the Grinch very nimbly stuffed all the bags, one by one, up the chimney. Then he slunk to the icebox where he took the Who's feast. He took the Who pudding. He took the roast beast. He cleaned out the icebox as quick as a flash. Why, that Grinch even took their last can of Who hash. Then he stuffed all the food up the chimney with glee. And now, grinned the Grinch, I will stuff up the tree. And the Grinch grabbed the tree and he started to shove when he heard a small sound like the coo of a dove. He turned around fast and he saw a small Who, little Cindy Lou Who was not more than 2. The Grinch had been caught by this tiny Who daughter who'd got out of bed for a cup of cold water. She stared at the Grinch and said, Santa Claus, why? Why are you taking the Christmas tree? Why? But you know that old Grinch was so smart and so slick, he thought up a lie, and he thought it up quick. Why, my sweet little tot, the fake Santa Claus lied. There's a light on this tree that won't light on one side. So I'm taking it home to my workshop, my dear. I'll fix it up there, and then I'll bring it back here. And his fib fooled the child. Then he patted her head, and he got her a drink, and he sent her to bed. And when Cindy Lou Who went to bed with her cup, he went up the chimney and stuffed the tree up. The last thing he took was the log for their fire. Then he went up the chimney himself, the old liar. On the walls he left nothing but hooks and some wire. And the one speck of food that he left in the house was a crumb that was even too small for a mouse. Then he did the same thing to the other Who's houses, leaving crumbs much too small for the other Who mouses. It was 1/4 dawn, all the Who's still abed, all the Who's still a snooze, when he packed up his sled. He packed it up with presents, the ribbons, the wrappings, the tags, and the tinsel, the trimmings. 3,000 feet up the side of Mount Crumpet, he rode with his load to the tip-top to dump it. "Pooh-pooh to the Who's," he said, grinchiously humming. "They're finding out now that no Christmas is coming. They're just waking up. I know just what they'll do. Their mouths will hang open a moment or two. And then the Who's down in Whoville will all cry boo-hoo." "That's a noise," grinned the Grinch, "that I simply must hear." So he paused, and the Grinch put his hand to his ear. And he did hear a sound rising over the snow. It started in low, then it started to grow. But the sound wasn't sad. Why should this sound so merry? It couldn't be so, but it was merry, very. He stared down at Whoville. The Grinch popped his eyes. Then he shook. What he saw was a shocking surprise. Every Who down in Whoville, the tall and the small, was singing without any presents at all. He hadn't stopped Christmas from coming. It came. Somehow or other, it just came the same. And the Grinch, with his Grinch feet ice cold in the snow, stood puzzling and puzzling. How could it be so? It came without ribbons. It came without tags. It came without packages, boxes, or bags. And he puzzled 3 hours till his puzzler was sore. Then the Grinch thought of something he hadn't before. Maybe Christmas, he thought, doesn't come from a store. Maybe Christmas, perhaps, means a little bit more. And what happened then? Well, in Whoville they say that the Grinch's small heart grew 3 sizes that day. And the minute his heart didn't feel quite so tight, he whizzed with his load through the bright morning light, and he brought back the toys and the food for the feast. He himself, the Grinch, carved the roast beast. Thank you very much for listening to this today. We are so excited about the Christmas holidays. Merry Christmas and have a safe and blessed holiday season. Thank you.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas.
I'm Audrey Lewis, School Board Member for District 1, and I'm joined today with...
My name is Evian Johnson, and I'm from Stewart Street Elementary School, and this is my sister Ajanae Johnson, and she's from Havana Elementary School.
And I'm so glad to have them with me as I read one of my favorite Christmas stories to you, okay? And it is entitled, "The Stockings Were Hung by the Chimney with Care in Hopes that St. Nicholas would soon be there. The children were nestled, all snugged in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Ma in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled in for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there rose such a chatter, I sprang from my bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash. I tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new fallen snow gave a luster of midday to objects below. When what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer, with a little old driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. More rapid than eagles, his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted and called them by name. Not Dasher, not Dancer, not Prancer and Vixen, on Comet and Cupid, O'Donnell and Dick Blixen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dried leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle, mount to the sky. So up to the housetop, the coursers they flew, with sleigh full of toys, and St. Nicholas too. And then, in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and I was turning around, down the chimney, St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed all in fur, from his head to his toe, and in his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. His eyes how they twinkled, his dimples how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow, and the beard on his chin was white as snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke, it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed, like a bowl full of jelly. I bet he went, ha, 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 ha. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf. I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye, a twist of his head, soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work and filled all of the stockings, then turned with a jerk, and laying his finger aside of his nose, and giving a nod, up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sled, to his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim as he drove out of sight, Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night. Did you all enjoy that? And what was the name of that? 'Twas the night before Christmas. Merry Christmas and have a happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Go Nose. Merry Christmas from my family to yours.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Hi everyone, I'd like to read the story Let's Play in the Snow. And it's got all beautiful illustrations of little bunnies. It says, Little Nut Brown Hare and Big Nut Brown Hare went out in the winter snow. We don't have much of that down here in Florida, do we? They played I Spy as they hopped through the snow. Little Nut Brown Hare looked around until he saw something interesting. I spy something that belongs to a tree, he said. Big Nut Brown Hare did something thinking about trees. Could it be a leaf? That was the right answer. Now it was Big Nut Brown Hare's turn to look around him. I spy something that belongs to a spider. A web, said Little Nut Brown Hare. Yes, a web was the answer. I spy something that belongs to a bird, said Little Nut Brown Hare. Big Nut Brown Hare thought about birds for a while. Then he said, "Could it be a feather?" Yes, it was a feather. This time, Big Nut Brown Hare, "I spy something that belongs to the river, and it's wet, wet, wet." "Water!" cried Little Nut Brown Hare. Water was the answer. Little Nut Brown Hare began to laugh. "I've got a good one," he thought. "I spy something that belongs to me." Big Nut Brown Hare was puzzled. "Can I have a clue?" he asked. "It's only there when the sun comes out." "Your shadow," said Big Nut Brown Hare. Then Big Nut Brown Hare said, "I spy something that belongs to me, and it's not my shadow." That really was a tricky one. Little Nut Brown Hare did some thinking. Then he said, "Can I have a clue?" "It's little, it's nut brown, and it's my favorite thing. And it can hop. It's me." Wishing everyone a very happy holiday season. Hope you enjoy many good books during the holidays and stay safe. Thank you very much.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
Merry Christmas!
Merry
Christmas, everyone!
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas!
Hello and happy holidays. I'm going to share with you a story about the tradition of Kwanzaa. From December 26th to January 1st, many African Americans in the United States celebrate a special time called Kwanzaa. Kwanzaa is their very own holiday, a way of honoring the customs of Africans, where their ancestors came from. Kwanzaa is a new holiday, but it is based on some very old African holidays. The word Kwanzaa means first in the Swahili language of Africa. It is picked as the name for the new holiday because many African tribes celebrate the first harvest of their crop each year. The spelling was changed from Kwanzaa with one A to Kwanzaa with two A's for two reasons. With the new spelling, there are 7 letters, one for each day of the celebration. Also, it shows that this new holiday is not the same old African one. Families celebrating Kwanzaa decorate their homes with straw mats, ears of corn, and candle holders called a kinara. The straw mat stands for tradition. The ears of corn stand for children. And the kinara stands for the family's African ancestors. The kinara holds 7 candles, one for each day of Kwanzaa. Each day has a special meaning, and a new candle is lit each day. Each evening during Kwanzaa, the family lights the candle for that day. The children and their parents talk about the special meaning of that day. They may also exchange gifts, but the gifts can't be things that have been bought. They must be made, such as clothes made by mother, toys made by father, beads and bracelets made by children. Often, many families meet in a home or community center to celebrate each day of Kwanzaa together. On the last day, there is a feast called a karumo with music and dancing. Kwanzaa was started in 1970 by an African American named Mulana Ron Karinga. On the last day, there is a feast called Karamu with music and dancing. Kwanzaa was started in 1970 by an African American named Mulana Ron Karinga. In communities where many African Americans live, it has become a very important holiday. And this is the story of Kwanzaa. I hope you have enjoyed this short story, and I hope you have a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. I thought I did already.
Merry Christmas. Happy New Year.
Okay, Merry Christmas, everyone, and have a Happy New Year.
Hello. The book that I'm going to read today is one of my grandchild's favorite books. The name of it is Santa Claus and the Three Bears. It was written by Maria Modugno, and it was illustrated by Jane and Brooke Dyer. Santa Claus and the Three Bears. I hope that you enjoy it today. Once upon a time, there were three bears. A great big Papa Bear, a middle-sized Mama Bear, and a wee little baby bear. It was Christmas Eve, and they were busy decorating their house with holly and berries and icicles. Papa Bear was bringing in a tree from the forest. Mama Bear was preparing Christmas pudding, and Baby Bear was busy getting in the way. Even though he was a baby, he was still pretty big, as you can see. The stockings were hung and the tree was decorated when Mama Bear called everyone to dinner. She put the Christmas pudding in a great big bowl for Papa Bear. She put some in a middle-sized bowl for herself. And she put some in a wee little bowl for Baby Bear. But when they sat down to eat, the pudding was just too hot. Let's take a walk while the pudding cools, says Papa Bear. We can see all the Christmas lights, says Mama Bear. I'm coming too, says Baby Bear. And the three bears set out together. Meanwhile, Santa had finished delivering presents to everyone in the southern hemisphere, and he was halfway through the northern part of the world when his sleigh landed on the roof of the Three Bears' house. All three bears were on Santa's list for Christmas presents. Their house shook and rumbled as Santa Claus tumbled down the chimney. Santa stood up and brushed himself off. He looked around and saw the pudding on the table. After eating milk and cookies all night, the pudding looked very tasty and warm. Christmas pudding, what a splendid idea, Santa exclaimed, and took a spoonful from the great big bowl that was Papa Bear's. This pudding was too hot, he said, and he tasted the pudding in the middle-sized bowl. This pudding was too cold. So he decided to move on to the pudding in the wee little bowl. This pudding is just right, he said, and he ate all of it. Then Santa Claus sat down in Papa Bear's chair. This chair is too hard, he said. He sat down in Mama Bear's chair. This chair is too soft, he said. And then he sat down in Baby Bear's chair, and it was neither too hard nor too soft, but just right. So then Santa bounced up and down a little bit just to get comfortable, and the chair broke, and Santa landed, boom, on the floor. Santa picked himself up and decided he needed a little nap before continuing on his way. He took his sack and went upstairs, where he found 3 beds in a row. Santa Claus lay down on the bed of the Papa Bear and said, "This bed is way too high." He got up and tried the bed of the Mama Bear. "Whoa, this bed is way too low," he said as he rolled over on the floor. Last of all, Santa Claus tried the wee little bed of the Baby Bear, and it was just right. So he snuggled under the covers and fell fast asleep. By this time, the 3 bears were returning home. "Somebody has been eating my pudding," said Papa Bear in his great big voice. "Somebody has been eating my pudding," said Mama Bear in her middle-sized voice. "Somebody has been eating my pudding," said Baby Bear in his wee little voice. "And he has eaten it all up." The 3 bears looked around and saw that someone had indeed been there. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said Papa Bear in his great big voice. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," says Mama Bear in her middle-sized voice. "Somebody has been sitting in my chair," said Baby Bear in his wee little voice. "And he has broken it to pieces." Look, it's all over the floor. The 3 bears ran upstairs to see if they could find the mysterious visitor. "Someone has been sleeping in my bed," said Papa Bear in his great big voice. "Somebody has been sleeping in my bed," says Mama Bear in her middle-sized voice. "Somebody is sleeping in my bed," said Baby Bear in his wee little voice. "And who could it be?" The 3 bears looked at Baby Bear's bed. They saw lots of white hair, a red jacket covered with soot, and sticking out from the bottom of the blanket, 2 black boots. I wonder who that could be. "It's Santa Claus!" cried Baby Bear. "Oh no, and ho, ho, ho," said Santa Claus. "Promise you won't tell anyone you saw me, please." Then Santa reached into his sack and pulled out a great big present for Baby Bear, a middle-sized present for Mama Bear, and a wee little present for Papa Bear. Baby Bear was very happy. "Can I open it?" he asked. "Not until morning," said Mama Bear. "Morning," said Santa. "I'd better get moving. I'd better get going." See, there was a big present for little bear, and a little bit present for big Papa Bear, and a medium-sized present for Mama Bear. The 3 bears felt the house rumble and shake as Santa went up the chimney and back to his sleigh. "Sorry about the chair," Santa called out. "I'll bring you a new one next year." And with that, Santa shook the reins of the sleigh and took off into the night. There's Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and little Baby Bear opening their presents for Christmas. And we hope that you will have a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And remember, over the holidays, have a safe holiday, and remember to read, read, read. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Where's it going? Let me get you shit. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas from Gadsden County School System.
Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas.
And we sure are going to miss you.
And I will you too.
Merry Christmas.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in one horse